So thanks for joining us folks live here from Kerry Street in central Monrovia. As you may be aware, the National Transit Authority in April of 2025 announced that they were bringing in 55 new buses in country, along with inclusive of 5 trucks. Yesterday, the Ministry of Information announced that the 35 buses are already in country, and as you speak, we are on Kerry Street, right in front of the Center for the Exchange of Intellectual Opinions, CEO, the famous CEO, and we have come here to sample the view of Liberians here about the buses. So we'll join Anthony Williams, who will bring us up to speed very briefly as we engage the views of folks here who will talk to us for approximately.
I wanted to go through, the NTA put out an official press release yesterday upon the news, because it's the Ministry of Information, MICAT precisely, that made the official pronouncement that 35 of the promised 60 vehicles have arrived in country, and they are on the free port of Monrovia, and they're being offloaded as we speak.
55.
Yeah, 55. Now, but as the press release, as far as the press release is concerned, according to the NTA, sometime in January, the board of the NTA went into an agreement with ABK Motors. ABK is involved into the sales of vehicles, heavy duty. They're also involved with the importation of heavy duty machineries and vehicles. And this agreement, according to the NTA, is meant to strengthen their operational capacity and to also contribute to affordable and reliable transport, and affordable in Liberia. So this agreement also comprised 35 brand new transport buses, and the actual brand is the Tata Mass Transit, buses, and those buses will be 62-seater buses, 35 of them. And of course, also they're also bringing in country 20 mini buses, and these 20 mini buses will be 18-seater buses, and then also 5 heavy-duty cargo trucks. In fact, according to the NTA, this is the first time that they are including in their fleet 5 heavy-duty cargo handling trucks. And so, according to their press release, this particular initiative is designed to strengthen the NTA's existing operational capacity and to also ensure efficient, affordable, and reliable public transport service. And so, with all of these details and with the trending information now that the promised buses are now arriving in country, there are folks who also might have some critical views, on the transport sector, and also folks who will also want to commend the government for making this effort for importing these buses. Come to think of it, we cannot ignore the fact that the country's transport sector has been challenged as it relates to the presence of vehicles, precisely buses, to transport Liberians, in various parts of the country. And also come to think of it, with the efforts that the government of Liberia is also making in road connectivity, the presence of these buses will also enhance the country's transport service, but most importantly contribute to the economy, because Liberians who are commuting from one end of the country have to ply on good roads, but at the same time the transport sector has to contribute to their businesses to enable them transport their goods and services across the country. So to add voices to this conversation, we are here at CEO, the famous CEO, here on Kerry Street, to hear the voices of Liberians, to tell us what they make of the effort that the National Transit Authority and the government of Liberia holistically is making in the transport sector. We have a few of them here on the standby, and my colleague Ayezin will start with the questions and we will start hearing from them. Still can stay with us. We're going to do this for at least an hour, and then we are expecting also to go to the NTA to hear from them, to give us more details apart from the press release that they put out yesterday, to bring us up to speed about the presence of their new buses and how they intend to enhance the country's transport sector. We have our the first individual who is willing to talk to us and give us his view about the presence of these new buses in the country, but also contribute or talk about the country's transport sector. He will introduce himself for us quickly. Sir, welcome, and thanks for granting us the opportunity to talk to us. Let's have an honest conversation about the country's transport sector, but first introduce yourself for us.
Thank you very much. My name is Stephen Bidoga, a Liberian, member of CO. I am overwhelmed, very happy. That was my prayer long time ago.
Okay.
But the promise that God made from the promises. And I heard some people saying it's not timely.
You mean like the importing the buses?
The importing the buses is very important. At this time, where we are struggling, citizens are looking for bike, they can't get bike, and brand new buses. And what that I'm happy is that the government is supporting the buses. And not like before, where people donate buses, the government is use their own money to purchase the buses to come. 35 brand new buses around the corner. Although they say 50, but at least that 35, it will enhance the transportation. In the money go Ghana Bay, people live in New Jersey, they fight one day. And I know the buses come. Somebody said the university, they will get one or two buses.
Like you mean the University of Liberia students?
Obviously, they will get buses. Then you will see them going on campus with the buses. You will see counting, 50 counting. It's 35 buses right in the country. I know each of those counties will get either 2 or 3 to be going. It will help. Then it will push government against the wall now to pave the road. As we're doing the pave the road, you have pave road. You know how to be struggling yourself to ride or test it to pay 50,000, 20,000. You pay less than that money. You pay either 5,000 at most to go to the referral. You will start going to the candidates. In fact, it will help now that some people that immigrant didn't get job. They will start looking for opportunity to go do a business on that side. So it's very important to pay the buses.
As we speak, the National Transit Authority in their week way are also going across the country, even though with the condition of the roads, though the government is also trying to work on the road. But as we speak, NTA is going as far as Maryland. So now with the presence of these new buses that they are importing, how effective and efficient you think they can be now that they are getting new fleet of vehicles?
For the previous buses, those 700 buses were used, they can go as far as Maryland. They are listening to Noah Kissing, Noah Sao Kissing. So they can go as far as Maryland. Then where's the moment they get new buses? In fact, it will push them. They will encourage them to do more because they are getting brand new buses. That will help the citizen. It's a welcoming. Somebody said, "Is that buses will eat?" No, my brother. Is the road pliable? You get buses. They will encourage you now. You will start making your little mini farm. You will start making your little farm to bring the crops and the produce to the market. It will reduce on the process or the commodity in the country. Your crops will be well seen. That people will be going for it. But when no road, then no buses or no car, it will stop you for doing something. That I'll be by the dry season I start going for my oil.
Okay, you want
to go for my oil because now I will just send my money. I pay less money. I go to when they go pliable and the president is doing. I let the strategy because I left when Rebel said, some of the buy error they face the play the new crop wrap. It's put on more pliable. It does not mean you new after payment. There's once they have smooth movement on the road. Then at least you see that of car will be going, you see bus will be going, you see Tesla will be going. First time for Tesla to bring Maryland bus for Maryland to see buses. It's very recommendable. And I know government will not just stop there. And one of my most things I pray for, the yellow machine.
Okay.
That more talk about yellow machine when you're arriving in the country. I think the government must have a lay elbow. Anywhere I go, I say no.
Yeah.
Even though we're not doing anything, we're not working, but I will pray God.
But do you believe the same way the government came through with their promise of importing buses, do you believe that they can come through with the yellow machine promise?
I trust the ability of the president that they said it. They are working on modality to bring the yellow machine. It will be, I know that is the cry of the government, the yellow machine. It is the most priority of the government. It will be successful with that yellow machine. I know they will do that within a short possible time.
Okay.
This government, I haven't seen any mark that will come. It will close the mouth of the opposition because that is our dream. Even for water, for Tometa. Man, when you told 2005, you said the rural country, they have been national road network. And the government realized they decided they came in the road to the people. I know the government before the 6 year end, most of our country will be connected. Then you will see the smoothly, you will see the hard time will reduce. Not everybody going to live in Morovia. Even living in Morovia, you will be going to leave our country, start making your payslip. You will do your payslip, open your shop. Somebody who has medical knowledge, they will pay the clinic to error. You got to wait for government to pay hospital. So can't the government not there, but they pay the clinic. But when the road is smooth, you can get your medicine there and help yourself.
And okay, but what will you say to someone who might have a contrary view to some of these things that you're talking about? I mean, you did say earlier. I knew obviously someone would say, "Now bosses will eat." I heard you saying it your very self.
Yeah.
And then other areas that government is making intervention. What will you say to someone who might have a contrary view?
No, we embrace people that have contrary view. And let it remind you what to do.
Okay.
They just think say they want to degrade you, but no, they telling you say they that they will say it because they're looking for a loophole. But as they open another hole, they closing, then gradually we are closing the gap gradually. So we're not get problem with those that get contrary view to what they say because they say the very thing that even we said it before. So they say that person will eat. I will say yes because when they roll a parable, then they come around crap. When they roll a parable, I will not to go back plenty now. You will see a lot of trucks will be coming from the Liberian country to bring the food. So the more important is on the road is pliable. Then you will find the road will eat, the bottle will eat now. It will be erased.
Okay. I've been to the NTA, compound where they got all the previous buses that they used to have. A lot of them, in fact, a lot of them have broken down. They're all lined up in the NTA compound. People might want to talk about the issue of maintenance, also the upkeep of these buses. The government responsibility, we agree. But what do you have to say to NTA now that they have these new buses? How, what can you recommend to them in terms of maintaining them and ensuring that they can last and stay with Liberia for a reasonable amount of time?
I think I listened to the vice president when he went to China. That some of the things they were talking. They are whenever that they sending for the machine that they have spare part in Liberia. And that's my prayer. Liberia is lacking of maintenance. That's the only issue. Who does the one I'm in road here? We are road there, but no maintenance. The maintenance department in Federal ministry are lacking. That one thing government can strike on. You see, maintenance, that more important thing. You can't maintain what you have. Like you had nothing. So government had to do much to strike on the maintenance. Because the bosses talking about other government, previous government, the best bringing bosses, but the maintenance the problem. They were not looking at it now. So instead for the bosses, look at the bosses that I think that will be maintained. Yes, when you just bring buses or you bring car, you go low within a short period of time. Nobody know that you bring buses, spoil lack of. Look at the NTA office, stop buses, and so the buses and you see it, and that's sport totally that just maintenance.
I understand.
So it's government put mechanism in place. Sending for the buses have maintenance department be very active. Then I think we'll make a progress. I know the government they are see that they are saw that solution and they know the reason that we they change the material for. Because when you get material that it can't be maintained, then it means that your effort will go in vain.
How about the NTA people? What message you got for them, especially with the efforts that they're making? I did hear you mentioning Noah Zawu Gibson, and the rest of the authorities there at NTA. Any message for them?
Yeah, the message I got by my man Zawu Noah Gibson, myself, we've been moving around politically, we've been doing some things, struggle together, and we're talking about the war crown code. Myself, we move with the embassy, we're moving parallel.
Okay.
I know Zawu Noah Gibson will fight. I know he will succeed.
You trust their ability? I trust their ability. The current management team at NTA.
The previous time we will see some funny thing going around. Some people but not seeing it because we marking our case. We are looking at it critically. Because some of them will have problem with the NTA want to cry the NTA. And when you get a post of money, maybe counter, then you go load the operator man, they can't reach the boss to the office. Even the very workers have problem with them. You go load the man go do 15K, quite all the money, you can't read the office. All that thing will know, but hey, we're not happening no longer. We have even put in the office that we ask the question that how you look at the operation of the NTA.
Then speaking of the money, like you did mention, the drawer will not report some money, all of that. You think they can put some kind of technology in place to make sure government can earn from these buses, you know, so that operators do not meddle into government money or tax and things like that?
I know obviously they will put that mechanism in place because that system, they can put system in place. That don't money because they mean that human being who know that Liberians, they can be tempered with any time. So they can put that system in place. So the money will not be tempered with. The money will reach to the actual area that is going to reach for the maintenance and the upgrowing of the NTA. But you just leave it like that untouched. You not put system in place. That Liberians, they can be tempered with. So although we trust their ability, but they can be tempered with like Liberians. So my message is the NTA to my man Sao Noah Casing, he will do well because he the operation man. He on the field, he monitor all the things, the drivers. So the guy they know because from that day job you get, somebody looking at you, you got a bigger job from that. So Sao Noah Casing, I wish him better. He will do better for the effort.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Is there your name again, please?
My name is Stephen B. Doga.
All right, Mr. Doga, thanks for talking to us. We appreciate your time. We might come here to talk about other issues. We hope to meet you here again. Thank you, Mr. Doga, right? So we just spoke to the first person there. You heard it from him. I mean, he gave his own view. He made some recommendations to the government, to the NTA, and how they can improve the country transport sector. We have our the next person here. It's fine. We have the next person here. He's going to join us quickly. He's going to introduce himself. He's also going to tell us his own view about the country's transport sector, and also with the coming of brand new buses in country. He's aware. Well, I mean, obviously, the same question goes to you as it relates to the importing or the import of brand new buses to Liberia by the NTA, and how the NTA is making efforts in uplifting the country's transport sector. But kindly introduce yourself for us quickly.
Thank you. I'm Robert, probably known as political slander of it.
Okay, political striker.
Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome to LNTV's. Let's have your view, sir.
Oh, okay. Firstly, let me welcome and appreciate you for this such a brilliant interview, and I'm appreciating you guys are doing well. But the only thing about it, I have a different view. Okay. I think it's about time. It's about time for the government to be transparent to us and to be open.
Okay, I respect that. You started with you have a contrary view. Let's hear that again quickly.
The government needs to tell us we are now too impressed about buses.
Okay.
Trust me. AT have been making progress. I don't see which government AT have been making progress. But some are studying buses in this country.
Right.
In fact, it was not you. It was not a donor. It was not a taxpayer money. You know, it gave based on her connection, a personal connection. Because when you come as a president, you say you have connection with cities. We saw George Weah here. Right. George Weah went in there. In fact, it was over 45 buses in the country were using taxpayer money.
Okay.
Were using taxpayer money. And these buses were functioning with the parts. Right. With parts. Today, the government using taxpayer money, our own money, to buy buses. We are telling you how much for each of the bus.
Okay. And
I challenging the government now, challenging Noah Sawukesi and the rest of the folks to tell how much for each of the buses, because money is a liability that we incur. Okay. We, you and myself, future embarrassment will pay our money.
And the NTA did make it clear that it went into an agreement with ABK Moto, and I want to assume obviously the document to that effect, to show how much government of Liberia is spending for these buses.
You're desperate to prove your political strength. You're desperate to show that you want to do something that yes, at least people must say you're doing something. You just go straight into agreement. Straight into agreement.
So you are saying this is not about improving the country's transport sector, it's about proving a political point?
But I think that's what they're trying to do, because if you want to listen, we don't want to be hasty, like you too hasty to do things. They deliver the yellow machine here. You did it with the yellow man up to now. The government is Paris, they broke, they ain't got money. They want to go do CP again. And the city will deposit that CP. At the end of the who will pay? Like you myself.
No, but you just said the government will pay through taxpayers' money, so you can't be asking
so the government needs to. That was say at the end of the who will pay we.
Okay.
So we now telling you how much for each of the boss.
Okay.
How much for one of the boss? We want to know.
So you are encouraging transparency.
Transparency, but no, I'm not even encouraging. I'm reminding them because they said it was transparent. They talk about accountability. They talk about holding the rule of law. That's the only agenda they crafted. So, insofar that you say you want to be transparent, I'm going to tell you, how can we celebrate bringing up bosses?
Okay.
When in fact people die in the street for salvation. People dying of men lost their life because they were hungry.
All right, so
the country had no job. People dying. People want job. The country is very tough. We cannot celebrate bosses when we are hungry. Who are rather bosses? Whenever they finish dying.
Let's make it a conversation. Eh? So good one. So we cannot celebrate, the importation of buses. But then in the NTA press release that they put out yesterday, and of course from the government standpoint, they're doing this to contribute, to the lives of ordinary Liberians. There are Liberians who will be using the transport sector with the presence of these buses. A lot of them who are commuting between the various counties will do their businesses, and it will contribute to the economy, it will contribute to livelihood. So when you speak of people who are dying in the street from starvation, will the presence of these buses not contribute to help reduce starvation, as you're saying?
So as I said, previous government are doing the same.
That is not an argument. It's obvious. Everyone knows.
So it's also going to be that I'm not telling you that it's not welcoming. It's welcoming.
Okay, great.
It's welcoming. It's welcoming. No, trust me, baby. You didn't tell me it's welcoming.
Nice.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, do not use it as your best achievement ever. You to cause no all around the place. Is that all around the place will be positive. Whereas ordinary NTA work all that done it. How much salary you told the people that you're going to improve the salary?
Okay.
How much go look at NTA? Go look at the work. Hey, microphone to the people. Even the people that you say you bring bosses for the citizens, they are in serious economic challenges.
Okay.
But for the whole entire government PR, although they be focusing on bosses, the idea is I think the government want all the ideas. The government has lost development. They get nothing to celebrate because they are reaching the Waterloo. They are shop almost 2 years and nothing to show. Then they go. You 1 year you went to Ghana, you bought bosses, you paraded with a year. You came back. Then you can't jump straight again. Go in and wheresoever you go.
Did the government procure buses from Ghana?
No, they brought buses here.
Okay.
They brought buses here.
They were not prototype to just start a deal and see if it would have worked out before they get into it.
You cannot join.
I like how you say Liberia is serious. So some of these efforts that they're making, you and I can agree that they are serious efforts in contributing to the livelihood.
Is serious, right? But the government is not serious. The distinction between the government and Liberia.
Liberia is okay. The country is serious.
The country is serious with serious amount of people, but the government is not. The current government is not serious. Okay. How you that whole government that in Ghana go bring the opposition, you say you can't bring up a trial. That happen in 2 days. But any agreement, nothing. So the yellow machine too. Agreement. That yellow machine now.
Yeah.
You distress the country. You talk few gentleman agreement. You go to gentleman agreement. After any PPCC agreement, nothing. Nobody know about it. You when you go, all around with few machines that you carry back.
Okay, but
and the general machine saying that no money. Nobody got money to procure the machine.
Nice one. And now they've given the authority to the vice president to work on that, and I think it has been worked on. The amount has been reduced. There have been more negotiations that have gone on. But let's see.
So you agree? I mean, that someone will not want the control. Someone says
you might want to get a machine.
They want to double control, double Liberian people, and the president want to be the one that's surprising me. The president is mental assassin corruption. You cannot say Memeka Pede should still be a money president when she lied to the president. She even made the president say that machine was given to him by one of his friends on gentleman agreement. Can he machine?
Okay.
Then she stayed there. She said $80 million. Okay. And so for 285 pieces of machine.
So if we can stick
when the first president want to negotiate for 27 million.
Yeah.
So if some Maka Bele should be done, then they stick to the NTA.
Fine. So if we can stick to the NTA.
35 buses he want to celebrate. Where our Joshua bought 45 pieces of buses here.
He bought
the parts. He brought.
Okay.
He brought. It was a donation.
And then this
use a personal connection. Use a personal connection because you cannot be always depend on taxpayer money.
Okay.
The influence. Joshua use taxpayer money here to pay freedom rules.
So you're saying taxpayer money should not be used to develop the country?
That's what I'm saying. I say you can. Bro, how many person here get pay tax? How many people you want to pay tax here? You get our taxes is not sufficient enough. You know the reason why people say the President Mr. Parker,
you might want to tell me.
Mr. Parker, into the person he have connection, into the person you use the influence. Instead because
is he not doing that?
Gentleman agreement. Memorandum understanding.
So and you keep pointing to that. Is that the only area where he's made intervention?
No chocolate effect. Then none use it taxpayer money now. That money should have been used. Say you get a connection, bring the bosses on your own connection, bring other companies that the people work. But then that money now like use like coming use for bosses, 35 pieces of bosses. It should quote that further another sector. Let it do that protesting. But judge about the bosses get two to you.
Yeah, but the bosses are just here, so probably they might make decisions to send in your other sector.
Need to be transparent. The government not transparent.
Okay. The
government not transparent. Is that you go do gentlemen agreement on process?
Thank you. I respect your view. So let's just do a little summary of everything that we talked about, especially with the intervention that the government is making in the transport sector. You can just summarize, your input, and then we can bring the next person on.
In summary, the boss, 35 bosses, whatsoever bosses, not the real issue. Now the real issue is the economic hardship that confront the people.
Okay.
I will send you down. I take a microphone there. As the people were also between the living condition and the living condition and the bosses, they will tell you clear. They will tell you because maybe you're some political man.
No.
But care to the ordinary people.
I'm not attaching you to any.
I'm saying it now.
Okay.
Care to the ordinary people. They will tell you people die in the street. You know. MTV. You get a lot of information.
You might want to tell me.
They made double starvation or made lost a level of hungry.
Okay.
Hungry palace all over the place. The police look at the legal about rape.
So let's.
Okay. So in summary, we want you to strengthen the rule of law. We want you to strengthen the rule of law. We want the rule of law to be heard too.
Okay.
That all the DNA tests we put.
We got to stick to the subject. We got to stick to the subject.
These are the issues.
No, that's not why we're here.
People will not support bosses.
Fine,
People will not celebrate bosses because their children have been raped and no justice.
All right, thank you. You have a question?
No justice.
All right, I think my colleague has a question.
So obviously you are an intellectual, and I want to engage your view on what do you make of the situation at the University of Liberia. You saw in past time there were buses being used to commute students at the University of Liberia, Fender campus and Capitol Hill campus, and some may attribute the buses that lie in rim at the National Transit Authority to your party or your government. You support the CDC for overusing some of the buses on many of the political rallies across the country. Now, are you trying to say that with the coming of the buses, they will not be useful to students at the University of Liberia? You want to go into that argument?
You say CDC used the buses for political rallies.
There were allegations around here. There were
allegations. But thank God you agree with the fact that the 45 buses that came to Joshua connection, further Liberians student benefited too.
But you care to tell us the connection of those buses coming to the country? Because you are asking for the government of Joseph Boakai to be very transparent, but you are only pointing to the connection of the former president in bringing in 45 buses, but we don't know how did the buses arrive in country.
A larger relationship between the India and Liberia vis-a-vis Joshua.
Obviously, even the current government do have a bilateral relationship with the government of India. So if you are talking about a personal relationship,
we see no impact. The impact that Joshua made is that just real his connection in buses. They're free, but you using the taxpayer money now. Because
so how do you expect the government to run? By what money?
well,
Yeah, what money you think the government should use to run a country?
no, listen, you.
If not taxpayer.
No, you getting me. You getting me.
I heard your view.
Liberia is hugely dependent on foreign donors.
But we do pay taxes.
We do pay taxes.
Yeah, so
I'm telling you, the president paraded to be the most qualified, competent, experienced, and connected persons.
is he not?
I'm not seeing it. So he's not. I'm not seeing it. Why here, bro? With all the troubles, why here, bro?
Are you not getting stable electricity?
But electricity, you know what's stable? No, you know stable electricity in this country.
Liberians may not agree with that.
No stable electricity commerce. How is it stable electricity? You know what's stable? Electricity coming. There is a stable.
How important is transportation to you? Because you come here every day and get back home. How important is it?
How is it important to you?
How do you define transportation?
How transportation is important?
I'm asking the question.
So it's important to all Liberians.
How is it important to
It's
you?
important to everybody. So I'm telling you.
You agree with me that with the coming of the 35 buses is very important to the transportation sector of the country?
Come on. You getting the interview? I'm telling you, other administration have, like you criticize, have brought buses to their own connection. But
we're not seeing nobody do that.
Thank you. So how will you do the bus at dollar? Nobody
We are not getting the clarity in the connection. The connection are brought in the buses. We are not getting the clarity. This is what I want to
So since the clarity was not given the connection, so the federal government also you now should be transparent. Since you don't say about money, be transparent. How much for one bus? How much one bus cost? So the government needs to be transparent. About transparency, accountability, and holding the rule of law. So the president, the people will not celebrate buses when they are living economic destitution, when they are living in actual poverty, people dying. Then you can talk about stable electricity. Do we have stable electricity? Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The next person.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm tempted to say that the CEO that you are part of is currently enjoying stable currency as you speak.
Currently, yeah, of course.
I mean, stop. You say using the word stable.
So let's engage a few.
Yes, let's have the next person.
For positioning, but want to do justice to this. Yes, want to say welcome. You've been following the conversation. Tell us your name.
I'm David Chipa.
Want to be audible a little bit.
David Chipa.
What do you make of the coming of 35 buses by the National Transit Authority? You listen to other speakers, and you may have your own statement or understanding about this.
Yes, I welcome the buses, the coming of the new buses. We welcome it, and then I trust the current leadership of the NTA because the current head for the NTA, Edmund Ford, is a man of love system. Yes, so I trust the ability of NTA, and I know the current management of MTA will put things in place, mechanisms in place that the buses will be used for the internal purpose.
You've had your own ups and downs when it comes to transportation, getting to Monrovia and going back to Pinsville, other parts of the country. How essential is the coming of the buses to you or all of Liberians?
Wow, I'm saying it's very, very essential. The buses is easy, the transportation is easy, people fighting because few time I remember few months back the drivers have issues and then majority of them park the Vera taxi and then citizens was struggling to come in town to go back. It was struggling even to the rural area. Now I think for now the buses are available to go in the southeast, Maryland, Sano, so it is welcoming.
What do you say to people who believe that this is not what they will eat? You hear people arguing that buses will eat, what do you say to them?
So every day, even when you give a man food, after a few hours he will complain. So once you need development, you just have to hold a peace. And I think we see the government proceeding the rightful way. If the government was sitting doing nothing, then we'll complain, say, oh, what they will say, what will eat. But for now, the government is proceeding in a rougher way. The bread and butter issue not only can be about people getting job, government providing buses, easy transportation is bread and butter issue. Electricity stable, electricity now you're not worried if LEC home because 24-hour current is stable. So that is a bread and butter issue that government is tackling.
Now, there are folks who say, well, the CDC or previous government brought in 45 buses, so the coming in of 35 new buses shouldn't be a news for the country. What do you say?
One of the issues I had with the CDC government when they brought in the buses, there was no maintenance. They brought the buses.
You think so?
Yes, there was no maintenance. Few months, few years, the buses started getting short. We couldn't see buses. So I want to recommend to the current leadership maintenance. They should maintain the buses. Maintenance is a key aspect of the buses. Once they maintain the buses, everything will be okay.
Students at the University of Liberia currently are struggling to commute to the various campuses across the country. Do you think some of the buses should be, given to the University of Liberia to help ease the transportation burden that student faces at the University of Liberia?
Sure, 100%. Even though I'm now a student of the University of Liberia, but I'm also appealing to government to give you one or two buses to ease in the transportation of the students.
Thank you very much. Say what your name?
David Chipa.
Thank you very much. And we have another person here, so we're going to engage. If you want to say welcome to LMTV, your name?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Razak Kane. I'm from Popolu City, Bapolu County.
You've been following development about the coming of 35 new buses by the National Transit Authority, and there are views of others Liberians who argue and say, well, we don't need buses about this time. We will not eat buses. You need to address the bread and butter issue. Firstly, beginning with you, what do you make of the coming of 35 new buses by the National Transit Authority?
Thank you very much. Let me appreciate this administration. It is a breaking news, and it is very much important because it has serious impact on the transportation system of this country. The coming in of those buses will not only be beneficiary to supporters of His Excellency JMB, it will be beneficiary to all Liberians. So it is a big news for us that at least we have screened over the years in easing our transportation issues, and then fortunately for us, we have getting 35 brand new buses. People are arguing that the buses, they don't know where government take money from. These are the same people that say buses will not come to this country. So for me, I get an issue with them. My concern is once I have seen those buses, I feel that Joseph Nima Bwaka have put his feet to the ground to ease the high cost of transportation. For me, from here to Bobolu, I will go pay 2,000 Modoba, 1,500 in commercial car. So if those buses are being placed on my road, I believe I'll pay 500 Liberty. So that issue of bread and butter, for me, I don't really think about bread and butter because I owe system thing. I think about soup and rest now. So if that transportation will be reduced, the balance money from there, I can go buy one cup of rice, buy pepper and tin. So we'll be discussing soup and rest issue instead of bread and butter because of my reserve for transportation high cost.
Your colleague is arguing that they brought in 45 brand new buses that was given as a grant, but you are using taxpayer money to procure buses, and they don't even know the source of or the cost of the funding.
Yeah, that is how they will argue. This grant was given to us, but the grant was being mismanaged as a matter of fact. Because when their regime left from power, they could not account for the 45 buses that India gave to this country, so they robbed our country. They robbed our country. If they could have at least said, the 45 buses that India gave us, we're leaving from power, then yeah, these are the same buses the guys are using to hold their partisans all around here. Then they come and say they want to know the source of the money before the buses. Our greatest concern, and for me, my greatest concern.
Are they not right by saying they want to know the source of the funding, or even the how much each bus costs?
They are right. Even myself here, I'm right to ask to know the source of the funding, because I'm told that the funding of these identical buses it came from the Liberian government, and what we have been told that spending from the few buses that government repaired, because Noazau gives in came the last time, they have to go buy spare part, because some of the buses were packed because no fan built, no key starter and other things. So the guy when they bought spare part, they came upon a few buses and they ran, in the traffic, they got some money. So that when they procure this time around, we're going to go to fields. I'll be lying now. Waka is telling people that we have reached to certain places, we're not going to pay for old buses. We're bringing brand new one and we our own self money. So I'm happy for that at least we are getting brand new buses with our own money. Now we test the source, but for now, at least I'm happy that it comes from our own money. We're not begging no more.
How would you like to see the buses being distributed across the country? Let's talk about the 35 first.
I want to see these buses being distributed to sectors. The University of Liberia, we have struggled over the years for bus issue. So giving at least about 5 pieces, where some will move on to go to Sinje, Fenor, and main campus to solve the University of Liberia bus crisis. In this identical 50 pieces of buses are coming to the country, and then we can share the banner into regions. At least every county get one, then regions be able to control some as well. Because if I don't know, but this news, it is very much big. It is a breaking news that is tormenting our brothers from the other side. So they will come to it, they tell you the issue of buses is not important. Even you bring 10 airplanes, they will say no, they're not airplane we want. When you can't, you drive full person, no, they're not full one, no medicine, no hospital. Just stop wasting time, no minute. When our government bring development for us, you come to the public, and then we appreciate the government on that. Until the government can do move.
If you were to visit the headquarters of the National Transit Authority, you see a whole lot of buses there parked, some no tires, engine, and what have you. All of us attributed this to the issue of maintenance. What do you say to the current administration at the National Transit Authority?
Yeah, maintenance has been our key issue in Liberia. It is not just with transit, but maintenance has been our key issue in Liberia. And then system evaluation, because some people, they will just send people some in the fee, and then they will not evaluate them, they will not follow up on their workings they're doing as well. But we believe that under this regime, the issue of maintenance will be taken seriously on each of the buses. Because see, now if you go to the place, you see one old buses are parking there. So in fact, we call on the government to auction them, let them move, that kind of brand new buses and follow that whole yard of buses, so that our transportation issue will be seized down. So we calling on the government to pay key attention to maintenance, because without maintenance, we'll be heading back to the old crisis that the guy left us into, where Bogodi buses are being parked there because of fan built, because of key starter, because of engine oil and so forth. So maintenance is our recommendation to Salif Talo and His Excellency to pay key attention to maintenance. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. This is Razak Kane. I'm from Bopolu City, Bapolu County.
Well, thank you very much. My colleague Anthony Willow will engage a few of.
Sure, folks, more views here. We are sampling more views. Several Liberians are speaking out. They are talking about the transport sector, the buses. You're hearing from them yourselves. We have another fellow here. Let's join him quickly. He will introduce himself. That's on ground. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Joshua S. Cooper. I hail from Single, to be more precise, Matari.
All right, Joshua. I think you know the conversation that's on ground. Let's start by what do you make of the news of the arrival of 35 brand new buses in country by the NTA, and what do you make of the efforts to strengthen the transport sector?
Yeah, firstly, I will applaud the Unity Party-led government in person of His Excellency Joseph Yumankwaka for the job well done. Because if we have been studying over the past time, transportation has been one of our problems to handle in this country, especially when it relates to the transportation fares. If you're riding commercial car right now from here to here, the junction, from Kevin Street here to here, the junction, I'm told you'll be paying around 200 to 250. But if a bus were were right on Broad Street and taking people from Broad Street to ELW Junction, I think that cost will be lesser and will be a government use. So I want to tell the president thank you for taking on such initiative.
Okay.
And
but what do you say to folks who will say we shouldn't be parading with the news of the arrival of brand new buses? It is not a worthy conversation to talk about. What do you say to them?
I mean, brand new buses, 35 brand new buses, not one pin or rice or one star or one bottle of beer. No, it's a huge sum of money that was invested in that accumulation. So by bringing those buses to the country, the new one already is a news that every sector of the country should know that the government had done. The government does not have to build only skyscraper for the news to be paraded around. For the fact that the little they have done, the news should be around.
Okay. I mean, my colleague earlier spoke about maintenance. We visited the NTA. We saw, a bunch of buses lavishing, in the compound. They're all damaged and all of that. And we all have been saying that all of this boils down to maintenance. What do you say to the current management of the NTA now that they are bringing these new buses and they are also bringing heavy-duty trucks as well? What do you say about maintenance?
Yeah, like the previous speaker said, maintenance is not only with the Liberia Transit Authority, it's in all the government sector. We all are aware that when government leaves, automatically next government account, all government property had to be transferred to the government in power. So if we are taking these cars and these luxurious cars and these buses and not maintaining them, at the end of the day when next government can, they will face similar problem with these cars. They will have to start to purchase new cars and all the things. Government money will be spent in that direction. So maintenance should be one of the key things that we should look at. And if you're looking at what Salitala is doing down there, I believe that this guy will be able to maintain those buses, that it will be transferred over to the next government.
Okay, and then how do you think the NTA can go about using these buses or distributing them probably to entities and other places? How do you think the NTA can go about doing that?
Yes, the University of Liberia, of course. The University of Liberia, where our children, our friends, our brothers and sisters go. I mean, if you have ECS transportation that they're going to Fender, it shouldn't be breakdown of buses. Buses shouldn't be that all the buses filled. The next group of students should wait when the bus come back before they go to school. They will be getting late for their classes and all of that. So I think some of the buses should be distributed to them, and others should be placed on the various ways to enhance transportation.
And I also want to ask you the transparency question. What do you say to folks? The previous fellow we spoke to was concerned. He wants the government to come clean and say how much each of these buses cost. He wants the government to be transparent about the procurement of these buses. What do you say about transparency, or what do you say to them also?
Salary payment alone of the welfare of Joseph Baga government cannot be compared to 35 buses. I mean, there's such a more obviously will come from government revenue. 35 pieces of buses a month. I think we'll be talking about if my calculation can send me right 2 to 3 billion United States dollar. Government can account for that. It obviously had to come from government budget.
Okay.
So I think
do you agree that government has to be transparent about the issue and let the population know we agree this is taxpayers' money and this is how much we spend? As like the way the previous speaker was concerned about that. Do you agree that government has to come clean about it?
Obviously, if allocation, because the finance ministry allocated the LTA budget, the LTA we have to go through that budget and any expenditure they made, our will get auditor. Okay. So the General Auditing Commission will have to go to the NTA to see we are here to audit and how much was spent on buses, and the auditor will come up with our findings and our reports. Okay. So then we will know how the money was spent.
Thank you very much. What did you say your name was again?
Joshua Escobar.
All right, Joshua. Thanks. It was nice talking to you. So, folks, we're still talking to more people here. We're going to do this for a few more minutes. We've done this for over 40 minutes now, or more than 40 minutes, or more than 30 minutes now. But we want to do this for at least for an hour, and then we can bring this video to an end. But we're still talking to more people. Can you introduce yourself for us quickly?
So thank you.
You want to be a little audible for us?
Thank you, LNTV. For recognition, my name is Andrew Moses.
All right, Andrew.
And I'm the president for the District 13 Youth Association.
All right, Andrew, to the conversation on hand, what do you make of the news?
So the issue about about the 35 buses coming into the country. Currently, as I speak to you, the young people of our district, District 13, which I hail from, and they are currently in jubilation. In fact, some of them they gave me money this morning that I should host a press conference in order to congratulate the government for this milestone. The issue of these buses coming in, it is appreciative, and it will help to minimize, the high level of transportation constraint that we are facing in this country. More especially for some of us who commute from District 13 to town every day. When you see the amount of people that stand to New Georgia Junction in the morning just to see one bus coming and everybody fighting on it, it is very embarrassing. So seeing this JMB administration coming in with this kind of a good initiative, it is applaudable. Let's leave the issue about partisan business. They don't say when you opposition it means you witchcraft. No, but Liberia is the only country that we see opposition. We don't want to see dead body laying down on the street. Opposition, we don't want to see evil things coming out of the government. And we cannot treat this country like this. This is the only country we have. Until all of us can rally around whosoever that is president of this country and forget our political party sentiments and rally around that person, we will not move forward. We will not move forward. So, okay, yes or yes, 6 years ago, we had the Indian government that provided about 40 plus buses because of the recklessness of the WIA regime. All of these buses, we don't have a count of any of them. At the end of the day, Habib Makode, who was the NTA director, he burned the entire place because he wanted to destroy all of the documents there.
Do you have proof of the place being burnt by the previous administrator?
Oh, yes, the NTA, the first thing we have to establish here, when the place was caught by fire, the fire service immediately dispersed a team there that conducted a preliminary investigation.
Did the fire service investigation point at the previous administration?
The fire service investigation tells us that it was an intentional fire outbreak.
Did it say it was the previous administration?
But who was in power by then? You don't expect President Parker, who was in opposition, to go burn NTA? It was the previous administration controlling the NTA. So who will be accused? Who will be accused? Obviously they will be accused. So with the level of work that this president is doing, in 2 years now, he have about 4 years to go. I don't think the people who are running around talking say they will come back 2029. I think they will just contest all of shame. Because if President Parker contests 2029, I don't see anybody that can win in this country. Just in 2 years time, with the kind of a massive development we are experiencing, Liberia is now being placed on the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member. Liberia through the African Development Bank is about to construct 100 new schools across the country with all the developments, stable electricity, with a drastic reduction in the price of red gas and all the basic commodities. Then people are telling us that they want to come out to power.
What do you say to those
you want to come out to power?
What do you say to those Liberians who think the government has to be transparent about the agreement with ABK Motors in purchasing these vehicles?
So President Parker has always, instituted a measure to show transparency. So the argument here, where Liberia is now, we need massive development. So let it keep the argument about transparency, even though it is important. But where we are now, we need massive improvement, development. Where this country is, the country is at a critical juncture. We have left the country in total destitution. So we are looking up to President Parker to lift this country out of destitution, and that is why he is doing automatically.
Okay, thanks for talking to us. What did you say your name was again?
My name is Andrew Moses.
All right, Andrew. Let's have the next person quickly. Can you come a little closer to me and then introduce yourself for us? So we appreciate.
By identity, I'm Afre Momokanaka Ikroma, a rescueless and a co-supporter of this government.
All right, well, let's talk about the arrival of 35 brand new buses through the efforts of the government of Liberia, of course, to help strengthen the country's transport sector. What do you make of this news?
Thank you very much. The
Me, they are going to be surprised of my utterances in that much I'm a supporter.
Okay.
I'm not going to praise government. I'm not going to praise somebody of your responsibility. I'm not going to be like the past people who when they buy one cartoon, then they praise upon. No, that's a responsibility of the government. It's a responsibility of Joseph Imabwaga to provide transportation services for the Liberian people. I'm not going to praise them. I'm not going to praise nobody. I'm not going to tell Joseph Imabwaga thank you. It is not thank you. That there is responsibility to provide buses. So I'm not going to capitalize on partisanship because I'm supporting or I'm rescuing. No. What I think it should do more than this. And he spoke of maintenance, which is a cardinal issue. You know, the maintenance aspect, the transparency aspect, all bad down to what honesty. Because if you cannot tell the Liberian people how much time you spend to bring the buses, they stay under question. You cannot tell how you maintain it, it's still under question. But again, we are asking the NTA that the buses should not be that they pass. The way other people talk about it, should not take care of that way. In that much, we're not going to praise, but it's a good thing to bring buses for the people.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you, don't you think it will contribute greatly to the country's economy? People are commuting from one county to the other, and transportation is something that there is difficulties. People are using taxi, safety concerns are also involved. So don't you think this step worth commending?
That's why we are saying we acknowledge that, and we will acknowledge it. That is a good thing. No some in your sound mind will disagree. That is not a good thing. It's a good thing. But what we are saying, our argument for now, we don't want to preach. Because it is a responsibility of the father to send the children to school, to feed them. It is a responsibility of Joseph Bogai to provide the basic services for them people. That is our argument, even though we power the thing. But when it comes to maintenance, that mistake was being made at the time. It was still repeated under WIA, and now I think in my mind it can still be repeated. The sea road at the NTA, they are not different from the past road out there.
What do you think they can do?
In terms of character, in terms of poor management, they will share the same behavior. Look, no one Liberian assassin since a decade. All the comments have been coming to pass, but have been coming to the point. I'm not seeing any government different from any government.
What can be changed? What can be worked on? What can be done differently?
I think when they are honest, they can do the different. But I'm not seeing no honest person. Because what I'm seeing is that if we condemn corruption yesterday, today don't involve the corruption. That is my argument. But we have seen that all of them the same a new one in the whole battle. You understand? So if you condemn corruption yesterday and today you corrupt, Goma is saying that you know different from the past. So my argument today is the president in that much will acknowledge it, but it should just go beyond of just saying that for people thank you for what he should do. He should make sure that the maintenance of the buses should be a yeto, and he should explain to the Liberian people if the transportation company that in India donated the buses free to Liberia, fine. If the government of Liberia spend money, then they tell us.
But the NTA put out an official press release yesterday that sometimes in January the board of the NTA went into an agreement with ABK Motor for the government of Liberia to procure these vehicles. So it's not like a donor kind of thing.
That's what we're saying. That is our argument. If it is not a donor funding something and the government of Liberia spend $5, they should tell all who spend $5.
Okay, great. The transparency aspect.
Transparency. We need to know how much they spend. We need to know, not just to provide buses, 35 buses. So if they are fair to us and say we spend $10 for the 35 buses, then we know that it's our resources. It's our taxpayer money that we spend. They don't get free on it. But if they are giving on the basis of free basis, they need also to know. But what some of will not be that they bother people. In that much I support you, but I'm not going to say you do the wrong thing, then I protect you or praise you.
But in this time, you think they're doing the right thing?
For now, I can praise the government in some aspect, and some aspect they are not doing nothing. In that much I'm supporting the government. The government, when it comes to rule, the government is trying their best. I can say they are something around 85%. When it comes to water, when it comes to electricity, they are performing. But when it comes to health and education, completely empty.
But you don't want to.
That two sectors is completely down.
Say that
No problem. When it comes to electricity, the government is doing well.
Okay.
I can say they are getting about 90 to 85%.
Yes, but
when it comes to road construction, they see. When it comes to water, about 60%. But when it comes to education and health, zero. They are not making any progress in that.
There's also the fight against corruption and putting public officials in their places. What do you make about that also?
The government is not fighting no corruption. The president is not honest with Liberian people. The president condemned all the government yesterday for committing corruption. Today, you can't suspend somebody and just when they stole $500, you suspend them from the position. Then they take the $500 and go sit down to their home and enjoy it. So I want you to see them in court.
You're recommending prosecution?
I want to see them suspend somebody. I want to see the person in court. Be prosecuted. When you find guilty, then you bring them where you stole, then you take it back from him and jail him away.
A lot of the government officials can be subjected to investigation. Most times you all read the press release.
Investigation going on. As soon one week after the people forget, then they say, "Mama, go there." The president did it to the guy to Central Bank, the former governor. It was the GSC report said they made so money. That was why on that basis you said he might suspend the man, even though he was in the turning position. By the end of the day, he turned around and took thousands of dollars to see me to go and sit down. When he stole in the turn again, additional money to say go enjoy yourself before being prosecuted.
So your final view on the transport sector, and then we can have our next.
So on the basis of the transport sector, I'm saying the comment I acknowledge it's a good thing, but I'm not going to praise him. I'm not going to say thank you because it is the responsibility of Joseph Boakai to provide buses.
Right.
I'm not going to be like other people to say, yeah, every small thing, thank you. We came to appreciate. I'm not appreciating nothing.
Thank you very much.
Asking him to do it, and it's a matter of mercy to do it, and he forced to do it.
Thanks for talking to us. What did you say your name was again, and who you are?
My identity, I'm Alfred Momokana Kuma, a rescue list.
A rescue list?
A rescue list.
That's a nice one. Thank you. Momo Kamara there, he said he's a rescuist. So we have our next person here. I like how you have a smile on your face. I hope we'll have an interesting conversation. So let's talk about the transport sector. You are aware of the news of the arrival of 35 new buses out of 55 of them, 62-seater buses. They're going to have 18-seater buses, and according to the NTA, for the first time they are bringing in some heavy-duty trucks also to add to the fleet. What do you make of this news? Introduce yourself for me.
First of all, I'm Pastor Harrison Powell.
Okay.
And I'm so happy because of the news. It's a breaking news. It's a news that at least they bring joy to the Liberian people. And I look on Facebook, I saw our mother, our father jubilated because of the 35 new buses, 62-seater buses. That's a plot for us. So we have to appreciate our government and they're doing a screen well, and also our president Joseph Boakai and the NTA boss, and they're doing a screen well. So it will ease down the transportation, and people will not be struggling in fighting to get in the bus. In myself, I live Eastville, and sometimes I get so caught into fight by getting the bus.
Yeah.
But now we
know the struggle in the morning.
In the morning, in the evening, going back home, and it was easy. And they are doing well.
So you think the presence of these buses will help ease some of the difficulties that you face in the morning to get to your various workplaces and all of that? And there are also folks who are talking about transparency issue. I mean, we were just talking about it here. They want the government to be transparent about how much taxpayer money they're using to procure these buses, because this is not like a donor kind of thing.
Yes, what I'm saying now, I've just said it just now, and people are happy. We're so happy. And one of them, I'm so happy, and I know my children and my brothers, sisters, the children will also be on the Rado buses, and the buses will be cheap. And when it comes to accountability, whoever knows how to give account of one another. And I say, even if you marry, how to give account of your wife, and your wife how to give account of you. And I say, so give me account that is process. Right now, the buses are just arrived. And I say, the government have time to give annual report to the Liberian people. So we can't just put your government on the wall and say, oh, will you tell us how you got the buses and then no. We know that The buses is not a donation. It's supported by the Liberian government. So some of the money they come from our taxes. So that's what we think on. So if the government come out with financial report, government will tell us, oh yeah, it is our taxes.
So for the fact that your tax is being used, can you say your tax is at work?
It's at work. Definitely it's at work. Our taxes are at work. And it's used in the proper way. It's not being used in going in another man's pocket. You know what I'm saying? But I hear people say they can't appreciate the government because it's the government for responsibility. Who told you? Even if you born your child, you have a children home. If you do well, your children will appreciate you. Although it's your responsibility, but they must sometimes run an appreciation to you. And so, yeah, oh, dad, you did a screen well for me by sending me to school. Although it's your dad responsibility, but sometimes you must run an appreciation. So Liberians have to understand that if the government do well, appreciate the government. That's why they're gonna cheap politics around. Oh yeah, and others brought 45. No, we're not talking about who brought more, who brought less. We're talking about Liberian poor being, the transportation issue being solved. Okay. And then people say, oh, the bread and butter. What is the bread and butter? What extra bread and butter Liberian people need? And the easy down the transportation is also the bread and butter. People get easy passes to move around and get things done. So other people get a job at the ministry, at the NTA. And they get a job. There's 35 buses a day. There are people who on standby who the fund will be depending on to feed them. Okay. So they will get a job, they will not just sit home. So the bus will not just run the street, just allow our driver with monitor on the bus. Right. All the people get a job to do. Okay. So they ease down the struggling and the bread and butter issue will be solved. Right. So I let people understand, man, this bread and butter thing will pass by ear. I know what they want to bread and minus. You talk about bread and minus instead of bread and butter.
Oh, really? Seriously. All right. Thanks for talking to us. What did you say your name was again?
My name is Pastor Harrison Powell. Support of the rescue mission.
Oh, okay. Thanks for talking to us, sir. And folks, so that we'll take our final few persons and then we'll bring this video to an end. But we're still sampling views. So quickly, let's join this fellow. Thanks for joining us. Your name, please.
Okay, my name is Peter Lama here from the township of West Point. Okay. To be precise.
Okay. To the topic on the discussion, what do you make of the news as it relates to the efforts that government is making in the transport sector? We're hearing news of the arrival of brand new buses. For the first time, NTA is bringing heavy-duty trucks to add to their fleet. What do you make of this news?
It's a good news, but for me, I have a couple of issues.
Okay, let's talk about them.
And firstly, I must applaud the government for things they are doing, and I myself I have some issue with y'all. Okay. So thank God, at least you guys holding the mark, and I will tell you guys the issues.
All right.
But however, when it comes to the buses, the transporters, sector,
I hope you respect that we got to stick to the conversation here. No, you don't have to, but let's stick to why we're here.
Yeah, no problem. We address that. Yeah. Like I said, I voted the government, and the government is doing well. What I voted them for, they're doing that. Everything is not rosy, but bit by bit things is getting better. Okay. And one thing the government need to do is the issue of empowerment. I think that's where the sticky problem is. All right. But when it comes to electricity, the issue of transportation, road construction, the government is doing well.
So speaking of empowerment, don't you think the arrival of more buses might also help to provide job opportunity for other young people? Speaking of drivers, speaking of operators, don't you think the presence of these vehicles will also help to empower Liberians?
It will, but we need more to be done. And this is why we went beyond the experienced president, which have to be our own father, President Joseph Yeman Bwaka. We need to invest more, invest in the little companies so that Liberians can be able to work. When Liberians working, we'll be able to develop Liberia. But other than that, the president cannot do all. The president will not come and build 10-story building here and go build 10-story building to ERWA. But if I'm working and I'm earning, I will build building that will be compared to other buildings in other countries. So I ask that the president please focus on the issue of empowering Liberia. Let them be a data set to know the total number of citizens, your typical Liberians, know the total number of citizens, how many of them are empowered, so that we can be able to help to develop this country. But let me I support the rescue mission, but I'm not working.
Okay.
But have something in mind to do to help this country. But we support them. We sit here every day. We come and gabo on the street discussing politics. But when job here, you yourself, you will not come on the street and to be asking people questions.
No, they won't find my job.
Okay, it is true. It is your job, but it will be difficult for the see people because when men busy, do not get time to talk.
Okay.
But the less busy people too much in Liberia. This is why any small thing the president do, we won't criticize, we won't praise. So the issue of boss, we're not supposed to be talking about these things. Because past government, you look at these things. So all the burden come right now on the new government, and thank God they're in that direction to solve this problem. So I'm praying for our president, whatever place he go, that he first so that companies can come, so he can be able to take off on the street, so we can be able to do something. Another thing I want to say here, Chief, maybe the president will listen to the interview. Another sector is about to venture into politics. The terrorist sectors, government need to try and see how bad they can stop all schools in Liberia to start importing school materials, the student dress code.
All right.
The
uniform, right?
The uniform. Okay. The Ministry of Education need to be concerned with the fact that the year we have tailors. If you get them out of job, the burden will go on government because they will come on carry school year again and start saying no job. People buying uniform $80 a year from schools, importing it from China, investing in the Chinese economy, let them invest in Liberian tailor here. Give value back to the tailorings. They will not come on the screen and talk politics. So on appeal, and also ELBC, please. I want you to take note.
Okay.
Every Liberian activity.
What about all this time?
Okay. Every Liberian activities when it comes to the following side, ELBC should go there. It's about Liberia.
All right.
They're not calling ourselves to be a Liberians. ELBC don't even on your TV. You play too many foreign music.
Okay.
The Liberian sporting activities, you guys don't go to it too much. I want you to please focus there. They get Liberians who naturally love sports.
All right.
But give Liberians what they deserve. You should bring all of our local leagues that want.
All right.
Whenever the national team going out to play, we want to go to ELBC. That will visit our national team. But rather we'll be checking for foreign stations to bring our national team games. So I appealing to you, please reach out to the authority.
Okay.
Let the focus on Liberian activity, promote more Liberian music because I never settle there. If the musician making money, they themselves will pay down to the country.
Thank you very much.
Bringing too much Nigerian team, for me, I'm disappointed in that.
Thank you very much. There are folks responsible to work on these things that you've just pointed out, whether they are happening or not. And I'm sure if they're listening, they'll look into that direction. But thanks for talking to us. Thanks for talking to us. So I think you might want to have the final person quickly, and then we can do a little summary at the end of the day. But folks, let's join our final person quickly. It's really hot out here, as you can see. I'm sweating, but let's join him quickly. Kindly introduce yourself for us.
Yeah, thank you. My name is George Dankwa. I'm a citizen of this country.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Josh. But let's talk about the news that's on ground currently. I know you've been following the conversation. Make your input quickly.
Yeah, thank you. You know, was in this country during former President Weah time. Former President Weah brought in 45 brand new buses. January 28, 2020.
Tell this for me.
Sorry, January 28, 2020. We saw that buses on the Vero Road, like the Somalia Drive. We saw it different places. So today, if you want to come here to come celebrate President Bwaka bringing in buses, we will not celebrate it because focus on the major issue of our country. You get a lot of people that are suffering. You get our people, the bread and butter issue. It is a major issue in this country. ELBC. Okay. We not need ELBC to come here.
So the transport, contributing to the transport sector is not a major issue. Is
not saying that major issue, but here is the issue now. Focus on the bread and butter. When Bwaka was addressing the nation, you not tell us that you bring 45 new buses. The agreement was you will change the livelihood of the Liberian people. So you told us that money will be flying for everyone to come.
No,
these are some of the promises he made to us here.
Okay, let's make a conversation.
For you to come on the screen and to come be celebrating 45 new buses, I think it is not fair.
No, we didn't come to celebrate. We came to come. Listen, let's have a conversation.
But you're celebrating the new.
Let's have a conversation. We didn't come to celebrate. We came to sample views. So we're giving you the opportunity now.
My own view is
yes.
We cannot celebrate buses. That Bwaka focus on the health issue in this country.
Okay, so there's
a hospital, the JFK hospital there. They don't have medical stuff within it. That President Bwaka focus on the JFK hospital. That President Bwaka focus on most of the roads in this country. They have been damaged. We want to be celebrating buses. You not get good road in the country.
Okay, great. So let's have a conversation.
Yeah, we'll have a conversation.
Take it easy. So you make your point, and you just said the government of Liberia is not working on the roads.
President Bwaka and the government of Liberia is not working on anything, but on the road, the buses, or any other thing.
They're not working on nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Okay.
So you're not going to tell me what they're working on.
No, it's not up to me to tell you what the government is working on.
But you can't as a state broadcaster.
So you need to tell me your view is the government not doing
view
anything.
is we will not celebrate 45 buses that Mr. Bwaka brought to this country.
That's your view.
Look, things are still high and tough in this country. You are sweating. You are sweating. You know how many people working in the street on a daily basis? Like the brother was saying here not too long. You think when that brother come to get job, that brother come to stay at Loganto, you think when I come to get job, come to stay. President Bwaka promised us job. President Bwaka promised us 45 buses.
For myself,
these are some of the issues there. President Bwaka promised us buses, he promised us job. He told us say you open the corridor so that investors can in this country. Up to this time, we haven't seen a foreign investor in this country, President Bwaka. So it means that Bwaka lied to us.
All right.
It means that he lied to us. Things are tough in this country. We're not going to focus on boss.
Can I ask you this?
Ask me, you're welcome to ask me.
You just said the president did not promise you buses. So are you saying the government of Liberia should not make intervention in any sector that they did not promise you?
No. Here's my argument, right? And I still maintain again. Focus on the major issue in this country.
What are the major issues for you?
You got a hospital, you got a clinic.
Okay.
People are dying on a daily basis.
So do you have
President Bwaka regime? I come in. On President Bwaka regime, we saw baby at JFK. Baby at JFK. I'm an intellectual. You not tell me how to talk.
Okay.
Baby at JFK. We saw that at JFK because there is no bed.
Right.
They can celebrate boss issue on the street. Why are you talking so?
So do you have any proof of the government not contributing to the health sector at all?
But come in a day. Show me the day.
Show me the day. Can you give us stats?
Show me the day that you have seen President Bwaka carrying baby top to what JFK call that day.
Can we keep having a conversation, sir? Can we have a conversation?
On President Bwaka regime.
Is baby top?
No.
Can we have a conversation?
President Bwaka carried towards JFK. So you got to tell me now.
No, that's not true. I was at the JFK when the government of Liberia did launch the cancer scanning project. They're about to build that within the confines of
they're about to build it. I say Nimi. So medical supply that President Bwaka carried. They say they're about to build.
You just mean baby top is baby top a major priority of medical?
These are some of the issues there. These are some of the issues that so baby mother get brave now. So why you expect them to pone baby? So why you expect them to pone baby?
So the government should provide tops for every baby mama.
But to provide medication for those that are there.
All right.
These are tough in the country, brother.
I understand.
Let's focus on the real issue. Focus on.
And what are the real issues for you, sir?
The very important issue.
Oh, the bread
price have increased. You have noticed it. I think you know start going to the fuller sharpness.
So those are the major issues for you.
Fuller bread price have increased.
So fuller bread are the major issues for you.
Tell you now, fuller bread price have increased.
Are those the major issues for you for
issue? What are the major issues?
I agree. I'm asking. So contributing to the transport sector, contributing to the road sector, contributing to electricity, and that major issue. It's fuller bread that's more costly.
But let's get about the electricity. The electricity, listen to Samuel D2 and inform us that it was the past government that initiated that deal that today we are benefiting free electricity in this country.
Okay.
So why you want to celebrate now? Tell me anything you have about President Bwaka.
I don't owe you to say anything.
No, you got to tell me. You're working with the government, so you got to tell me.
No, I didn't come to tell you anything. I came to ask you. I'm asking questions. I'm not here to tell you anything.
I'm telling you that we will not celebrate 45 budget that President Bwaka brought to the country.
You have it right now.
We will not celebrate. You know what? Because the baby mother crying to GFK. Brother, the market with me, 8.4 market, they are crying. There's no people are not buying from them.
Okay.
You get the city police, put the last year, peaceful service in Liberia National Police, they are killing our people. Then you want to celebrate boss here on the street. We are sure man in the ledger. You don't come here with that petty argument.
You have the flow to express
we are growing faster in this country. You saw people all around the street pass around saying we won't get a view. We are positive.
But come to think of it, you are responding to the argument. You know,
you are working on ERBC. We are growing positive to this country.
You have to listen to me or I take my mark, sir.
No.
Fine. So let's have a conversation. Yeah, fine.
It is simple.
Very good.
President, we are growing positive to this country. You are working at ERBC. Our brother Mark on the street to come. If people say, I see the boss issue.
Yes.
Then you need to play that video.
Why? I don't owe you that.
No,
told you that. You got to go find it.
They want to go celebrate.
I did work at ELBC.
Issue here, just getting our
Can I give you a proof, sir? I did work at ELBC when the 45 buses came in country, and I was part of the broadcast that day when we spoke about the effort that government made. Just like I'm here to ask questions, I was also in the streets asking people. We were also on the radio broadcasting stories about that government intervention. Same here. What do you make of this one? You say you're not interested in celebrating.
I said
that's your view.
We will not celebrate President Bwaga.
It is not about celebration. We just want to get your view. That's all.
Yeah, but I don't my view there.
Separate. That's
I will not appreciate the government bringing buses here.
Thank you very much.
National issue. People mother dying on a daily basis.
Yes, sir.
Our parents dying on jobs on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Let President Mr. Bwaga focus on the health issue in this country. But you can't celebrate buses here.
All right. Thank you very much.
One question. You are an intellectual.
So I'm not intellectual.
Yeah, so I want to engage your view.
We are.
Let's go by sector.
Yeah, we are.
You were here during the former regime, and you are grading the current government. Looking at the,
I haven't graded current government yet.
You said you have not seen anything.
I said
that all by itself is giving them nothing. If you are not seeing anything,
ask me for the grading system of the current government.
No, I will take you to a sector.
No problem.
Let's go to the health sector.
Yeah.
You visited various health sector across the country. You heard people complaining about no drugs in the country, no drugs. When was the last time since the coming of this government that you heard a major health facility complaining about the lack of drugs in that facility?
But you got people that want our protest.
No, listen. No. I'm asking a direct question.
Yeah.
You went back and forth with my colleague.
When was the last time, right?
Yeah, you heard people
complain under this regime
about no drugs. You are key about it. Listen, you are.
No drugs in the country.
You making the allegation so you get approved.
Oh, you not know say no drugs in the country.
No, I'm not in the know.
Alright, then I should pay away so that when you go to.
No, what's your reliance?
No, I should pay away so that when you go to TFK.
What's your reliance?
I should pay away so that when you go to TFK. You not know that there's no drugs in this country.
You don't need to pay my way.
There's no drugs in this country, young man.
What document are you quoting?
What document?
Which institution?
Because we have to use a quote document about drugs in the country.
What
So,
did you say, Animos?
We have to. You're not quoting document here.
What did you say, Animos?
People are protesting because there's no drugs in the hospital. Today, people are protesting because there's no drugs in the hospital. Our brother are dying with drugs on a daily basis. President Bwaga should focus on the real issue. President Bwaga should focus on the economic issue of this country. President Bwaga has failed to liberate people. President Bwaga has become a real disaster to this country. And our people don't go to elect President Bwaga comes to them because he has embarrassed President Bwaga. One of the last President Bwaga that
you have to come to a conclusion. We're not here for you alone.
President Bwaga told us he prefer rally we out towards the executive mansion. That was a blatant lie. Today President Bwaga rally a million car, a serious manner embarrassment of disgrace towards the state of our country.
Thank you. What did you say your name was? What did you say your name was?
George Dangwa. Thank you.
All right, George Dangwa. I was talking to you for your conversation. So that's it. I like how George Dangwa did not show any proof of all of his allegations. And then he's asking us to provide the proofs for his allegations that he's making instead.
But you are talking as an intellectual.
Yes, an intellectual with no substantial, evidence.
Exactly.
That's a nice one. See, Josh, it was nice talking to you. Yeah. So, folks, we spoke to a few Liberians here. So, basically, we just came out. I mean, we were asked to come out to sample the views of Liberians about the efforts that the government is making in the transport sector. We all heard the news of the arrival of some of vehicles that were procured by the National Transit Authority. These vehicles were promised, in the past we heard the news that the NTA were bringing them to augment the transport sector to provide affordable transportation for Liberians across the country. And so 35 of them are here, but they're also expecting, I think, 20 more of them. They're bringing in 18-seater buses. They already have the 35 62-seater buses, and they're also expecting an additional heavy-duty trucks also also to be added to the fleet. I think 5 of them. And so we just spoke to several Liberians here to tell us what to make of this particular news. We thought to stick to the subject, but you know the environment where we find ourselves. It's an intellectual center, and there will be folks making allegations with no proof. There will be folks also putting their views. And I mean, we respect that. That's why we've given them the opportunity to speak out. And at the same time, we have to try our best to control the conversation and keep it healthy. And so our last guest was quite interesting, and almost everyone we spoke to also made some very salient points, and their views were all respected here on LNTV. My name is Anthony Williams. My colleague here, Arizal.
Yeah, so certainly this is the beauty of democracy, you know, giving the national platform to all walks of life, you know, Liberians to have their say. Because come to imagine if you listen to the folks on the radio calling from their various homes and having their say, and then having to see their impression and saying some of the things they say, is only a situation picturing the level at which Liberia is moving, you know, giving everyone the time to express themselves.
I mean, one thing,
unruly behavior and what have you.
And one thing you have to point out, I want to point out also, is the fact that, especially for young people like George, who we just spoke to, he was, I mean, you could see, you know, the anxiety in him, the heartness, he wants to speak. I think I like the fact that every young Liberian wants to say something about what's happening in their country, about the governance of that. And I mean, for us, we just have to keep the conversation refined, you know, but the style of discussing national issues that have been instituted in Liberia is quite interesting. Every young person is taking up that. Every young person is now an intellectual. Every young person is now a political commentator. But again, that's the beauty of democracy, like you said. But I must point out that I like the fact that every young Liberian wants to be a part of the conversation about what's happening in their country. And obviously, places like CO, you don't get it easy here talking to folks. And places like CO, folks don't necessarily owe you evidence as to what they say. They just throw it out there. So, I mean, but it's been a nice conversation talking to those that we spoke to. And I must say, this brief broadcast was quite an interesting one.
So, taking cue from some of the previous speakers, if you listen to them, they all mentioned the issue of maintenance.
Sure.
Because what good will it do for you to bring in 35 buses in country, and after 4 or 5 months, you have them back at the National Transit Authority.
Sure.
So I think it's not safe to encourage the folks at the NTA to improve on the issue of maintenance so that we can have those buses running for the longest.
And another thing is for the first time, according to the NTA, they are adding 5 heavy-duty trucks, you know, to their fleet. This is something, according to them, they've never done. And I want to really, we are working on going to the NTA to hear from the authorities there to give up more details, you know, on this particular fleet that they are bringing in country. But we ought to, and then to also get more details on how they intend to use those heavy-duty trucks. I do remember, and I remember one of my parents telling me back in the day, they also had the NTA helping them to transport goods from, you know, other parts of the country. So obviously those buses, you will not be putting plantain, you know, you'll not be putting oranges and other goods that are being taken from, you know, one point of the country to the other in those buses. So probably those trucks will be used for those purpose, for that purpose, sorry, or for other purposes. Whichever way the NTA intend to do that, we obviously want to hear from them. But we did hear from them in their press release that for the first time they are adding 5 heavy-duty trucks to their collection of fleets. So yes, I mean that's another, you know, part about the news that worth talking about.
Yes, certainly. They spoke about the issue of cooperatives. Yeah. So basically, the trucks will be used for those cooperatives across the counties wherein they will have their goods brought to the commercial district like Raleigh, Douala, and other places. And it will help ease the transportation burden.
Definitely.
And you will have people who will be accountable for bringing your goods to the market ground rather than the driver telling you, I can't go for a goose because of SYC.
All right, so folks, thanks for watching. For those of you who have been following and those of you who have left your comment in the comment section, we've tried our best to keep the conversation, healthy and refined, and we also will give people the opportunity to express themselves. All we want is for people to keep it respectful and refine the conversation, because this is a national platform. Everyone is watching from across the country. Thanks for watching. Thanks for leaving your comment in the comment section. Thanks for making your input on this conversation. My name is Anthony Williams. My colleague Damara Fofana has been behind camera, and
I'm Ayeshin Hiba.
Thanks for watching, and bye bye for now.